Thank you, Minister. You know, back in 2017, Minister, the United States raised questions about the Chinese Ministry of Defense's Academy of Military and Medical Sciences Institute of Microbiology and Epidemiology, saying that they were a risk of potential biological weapon capabilities. Doesn't that fly in the face of you saying that we had a great relationship with China then?
I don't recall having said we had a great relationship. I said that there were, at that point in time, emergent concerns, certainly around the way in which China was engaging itself internationally. There were some early warning signals that things were beginning to turn in a bad way. But I would say that the management of risk, in particular when we're talking about deadly pathogens and trying to find answers, that at that moment in time, thinking that that you would use information around therapies and vaccines to try to use them for some sort of geopolitical military purpose, that was a different dimension at that moment in time.
But realistically, Minister, I mean, clearly the United States identified that they were talking about small-scale offensive biological weapons program.
Well, so at that moment in time,
you think about it, you've talked a lot about Ebola. Wouldn't you use Ebola to do that? Wouldn't that be a great pathogen to do it?
Well, no, actually, what I would say is that the international cooperation. You're not letting me finish my sentence. What I'm saying is that. What I'm attempting to answer. So what I'm saying is that international collaboration at that moment in time with respect to Ebola and any number of other pathogens that was happening in an international stage. But China represents 1 billion people. It has an enormous wealth of knowledge and information.
I don't know about China.
And well, no, but we wanted them to be part of that solution.
Don't you think that's dangerous?
I think it's dangerous to give up on collaboration with 1 billion people. Unfortunately, we had to do that because the threat environment evolved.
So even though we have scientists sending a potentially weaponized virus to a power that's going to make biological weapons, clearly, you think that's
Ebola,
okay? So
no, I think Ebola exists today as a deadly pathogen.
Is that okay with you, or is it not?
Ebola exists and is easily found in there's outbreaks all over the world.
That's not true, Minister, because
there are outbreaks all over the world, and China's objective was to.
Excuse me.
Well, I don't know if you want me to answer or not.
At the Wuhan Institute of Virology, they didn't have Ebola until the scientists at the National Microbiology Lab sent it to them.
There are regular outbreaks. There have been regular outbreaks over the last 20 years of Ebola.
Did they have it in Wuhan before it was sent from Canada or not?
What I would say is this, which is that Ebola exists today. It has existed for decades as a deadly pathogen.
I didn't ask you
and it doesn't need to be weaponized.
I didn't ask you for a lecture on Ebola.
Chair.
Yes, Mr. McVie.
I think this committee was going so well. There were some very thoughtful back and forth that was taking place from members from all parties. And all of a sudden, I'm seeing a behavior that I saw from Mr. Ellis in HESA committee, which is highly inappropriate. And I think it's undervaluing the work that this committee is doing this on a very important topic. Pose a question, wait for the answer, get the answer. You may not like the answer, but at least have an opportunity to have a respectful discussion between the member and the speaker. And I
didn't ask for a lecture on Ebola. Thanks.
Yes, I think.
Thank you for interrupting. I mean, this is just Mr. Ellis just made my point by even interrupting another member on a point of order. I mean, you come with a certain attitude, or you here to make sure that there is respectful conversation happening, as was being done by other members from his own party and other members from of the committee.
Perhaps I could just in 10 seconds, Mr. Chair, to respond, because I just have a 10-second runway to answer the question.
Well, no, we've stopped the clock because I want Dr. Ellis to have his full 5 minutes.
Thanks very much, Chair. I appreciate that. So, I guess
Dr. Ellis, if I could please, again, this is just in the interest of our interpreters that when we talk over each other, it makes things very difficult for them. And so I would ask, in respect of them, that we keep things, orderly.
Yeah, maybe if the minister would answer the question. So we'll move on from there. I guess that's the question that we'll leave. Are there other 1,000 Talents program scientists working in other Canadian labs run by the Canadian government?
None that we are aware of, no. And I can say that with respect to, there's no weaponization.
No, I appreciate that answer.
Well, to the other one, if I could say, there's no evidence of weaponization. Are we going to have this guy answer the question? I mean, once he does, then he doesn't need to keep talking. I was attempting to answer the question. I didn't get a chance to answer before because you're interrupting me.
Then have you done an extensive investigation to understand, are there other 10,000 Talents programs?
That would not be conducted by me. I would refer you to intelligence officials in terms of what actions they've taken. And my understanding is that those officials are going to be before
Is the
this committee, and
investigation
there'll be an
ongoing now at the
opportunity.
current time, Minister?
I'm not responsible for that investigation. It wouldn't be me or my
I
department.
didn't
but
ask
those,
if you're responsible. I asked you if there's an
I
investigation
would say
going
that
on.
those individuals will be
Yes,
appearing before
Mr.
this committee, and you can
Frank
ask the questions of them. And if you want to listen to them or give them an opportunity
No,
to have
I'm
an
asking
answer,
you a
then
question. So
Dr.
is
you're
it-
not really
Sorry,
asking
we
me a
have a
question.
point of order.
You're badgering me, but that's okay.
I'm
sure.
sorry to hurt your
Dr. Ellis,
feelings.
You're not hurting my feelings. You're just not letting me get a chance to answer.
You're not answering the question. That's the biggest
Dr.
problem.
Ellis, please.
Chair, I echo what Mr. Nakvi said. The meeting was going well. These are important issues. No one's denying that. But if we're going to be serious about getting answers that allow for a genuine approach, one that prevents errors like this from happening in the future, then at least allow a civil dialogue to take place. That's all we're asking for. We're going to have a number of meetings on this very issue, it looks
forward to
like. And so I don't know if Mr. Ellis is here as a permanent replacement. I don't know if he's here temporarily. But I would just ask for the member to act as an adult. I don't know how else I can put it.
All right, I think,
Thanks for the lecture.
listen, we've made our points. Let's keep things cut, neat, tidy, short questions, short answers. Get it done, okay? Dr. Ellis, you have just a tad over a minute left.
Thanks very much, Chair. So, considering the what we've learned so far, which is next to nothing, what prompted the SDG of the NML to ID Drs. Chu and Chang as potential security risk as far back as 2018?
Well, as Madam Jeffrey had indicated, there was a process where there was an update that there was from CSIS on the potential of employees being approached or being attempted to get information from them, and to undertake reviews. And as part of that review that came out of that process in the fall of 2018, it was found that there was a patent that had been.
Excuse me, Minister, that's not true, because the patent issue we already established came in October. This was in August.